So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our second episode of eLivrary. So, eLivrary is an online interactive platform that allows us for interpersonal dialogues between people to gain real-life learnings from our human books, from our DIDI Human Books. Today is really exciting because this is also a perfect opportunity for us to get engaged with our exceptional human books. So, I'd like also introduce to you, I'm honored also to introduce you that our moderator for today is none other than the Dean of DIDI, Hani Asfor, our moderator for today. Okay, Hani, welcome. And thank you so much to all the participants, to the audience. And now, let me introduce to you our human books for today. We have Khadija Al-Bastaki, the Executive Director of Dubai Design District. Good afternoon, Khadija.
Good afternoon, all.
Wow.
Walaikum assalam.
Yes. And then we have another human book today is Hessa Al-Joker, a fashion designer and founder of Perla.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Hessa.
Glad to be here. Hi.
Yes.
And thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to be part of the DIDI Human Book and to meet Khadija virtually, first time. And yeah, I'm so excited.
So thank you so much. Yeah, and then of course we have one of our DIDI professors, Carlos Montana.
Thank you, Donna, and good afternoon, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so let's start. So I'll give it to Hani Asfor as our moderator for today. Thank you so much, Hani.
Thank you so much, Donna. Thank you for organizing this. I'm very excited to be asked to moderate the session because having wonderful people like Khadija, Hassa, and Carlos, we contribute to the knowledge base at DIDI is something that is beneficial not only to DIDI, but the entire D3 community. And I wish to also say that we consider ourselves the academic arm of D3. We consider ourselves one and the same as D3, if you don't mind me saying that, Khadija. So we're very honored to have you here. I will start about asking you, Khadija, a question about what in your mind is an important D3 to be able for everyone in D3 to share knowledge, as knowledge being the glue of building a community.
Yes. Oh, voice is cutting, Hani.
Yeah. Did you? Shall I try again?
Yes, please, Hani.
I believe that knowledge is one way to build a community, and being in D3, we feel it is our duty and our honor to work with D3 to build this community based around knowledge. So the question is, how do you see that knowledge can be glue to connect the community at D3, since you know the D3 community the best?
Sure,
and what are
sure.
some ways that we can do that?
Sure. Before I answer that question, to the audience joining the room, we as Dubai Design District, we play the role to ensure that we have a platform to allow creatives, design, fashion houses, architect art, part of this vibrant community. We also structure to allow smaller firms, SMEs, entrepreneurs, and other firms to have addresses in D3. And to answer the question, how is the knowledge is playing a role in that, as you mentioned, you are an arm to us. You are cultivating, engaging by educating the design. This is one of my valid, strong ecosystem to the design, the mature designers, design firms is looking for those talents, those fresh minds, and the knowledge and the education element is where it directs them to my channel. And through you with us, we are able to engage them in our ecosystem.
That's really beautiful. Thank you. We do consider ourselves a big contributor to the ecosystem, and if there are ways the IDI can improve and increase that exchange of knowledge, we are ready. And I want you to know that our library with Donna as our librarian is available to the community as well. So we have physical books, and with this initiative, we will also have access to the people of the IDI. So it is humanized. The library is humanized. Speaking about ecosystem, I turn the question to you, Hassa. I loved your enthusiasm in the introduction as well. And so tell us, why are you so enthusiastic? What is your belief of building an ecosystem around knowledge at D3, given that you are one of the designers who are very much a node in this ecosystem?
To be honest, being part of D3, it's really exciting because you get engaged with a lot of designers. And this is help us as a designer to build more knowledge, and it's building an eco knowledge automatically without like you are forced to do it. So for me, building an ecosystem and knowledge is really important because it will improve my design way and my fashion collections into future ideas as well. So for the upcoming collections.
Yeah. So you are a fashion designer. Do you mind telling us more about your work and collections then? And as you answer that, also think, okay, if you are a human book, what kinds of information and knowledge can you share with the students and with the D3 community?
Okay, I will start first of all to introduce myself. I'm Hassa Joker. I'm a graphic and fashion designer. I studied double major in business and graphic. And we established our company in 2008, and we joined the D3 community in 2015. And we built a lot of good relationship with the rest of the community as well in different sectors. And we basically combined between art and fashion at the same time. For me, it's really important. I can see the fashion is part of art, and you can dress well, and you can go amazing by transferring the graphic into the fabric, and this is what we are doing exactly with our collection. Can you repeat the second part of that question? Because
yes. Based on that, we have invited you and you have accepted to be a human book in our library. What kind of knowledge or advice or mentorship can you provide the IDI students and the D3 community in general?
Okay, because I have an experience in business since 2008. And I think this is really important to share my knowledge with the student, how they can shift their education and their study into a business, because really important after the situation that we are went through months before. I think it's really important to think a bit about not only being hired under companies, it's how to start your own business. This is really important. And the second thing is doing what you are passionate about it. And I'm really passionate about doing pattern making. And this is what makes our business different. So I would love to be like giving a student workshop about how to create pattern and how to use the technology with the fashion at the same time.
Okay, that's great. I will go to Carlos and then back to Khadija. Carlos, speaking of this knowledge sharing and mentorship and being a human book, what does it mean to you as a DIDI professor? You are the most senior professor at DIDI, and we would like to hear from you, like, what can you contribute? We know you contribute a lot to the students, and now we want to give back to D3 our knowledge. How can you be available to the D3 community as a human book? What can you offer the D3 community?
Thank you, Hani. That's a very good question. And I think the main objective of these sessions is precisely to open up to the whole community this knowledge and this sharing. Of course, well, my specialty is design, and I was trained as an industrial designer. And within that specialty of industrial design or product design, I did my master's in integrated design and my PhD in biomimicry and design for sustainability. So academically, of course, I'm very willing and very happy to share my expertise around those topics that I've researched. But I think that more than that, it's the personal experience. And that's probably what made the difference between the traditional books and the ebook and the live books, that we as live books, as people, are willing to share our experiences, our pathways in life, sometimes our career, and how maybe we've overcome some obstacles, and hopefully provide some mentorship and some advice, not just to our students, but to the open community. And of course, that includes the D3 community. We're always willing as the DIDI to collaborate with industry, with the government. So this is a fantastic way to build those relationships.
Amazing. And Khadija, back to you. I'd like to hear from you. Like now, you know, we have a representative of the industry with Hassan. We have a representative of the academy through Carlos, and they're both willing and actually so excited and enthusiastic to provide this knowledge. In your opinion, I believe this is something beneficial to D3, but I wish to hear your thoughts on that. And the other thing, how can we allow the D3 community to know that this resource is available to them?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. First of all, you know, we need to ensure that, you know, Dubai-based creatives, entrepreneurs and SME is engaged with tools. You know, they are backed up with the support to ensure that they are able to excel and grow in their businesses. So today, this is the role that we are playing over here to ensure that they're getting a platform to be able to enter a real world to run and, you know, operate with their business model. Then we, in the same setup across, we have the N5 design, which ensure that those young designers and creatives are able to get a platform, try their prototypes, get a committee on the board, you know, basically judge the model and, you know, give the comments on that. So basically they could be part of that cycle and graduate to the real world. Second thing, we have the right infrastructure for those. We have, you know, from smaller spaces, different segmentation of their licensing, and also giving them a structure to skill from a workshop to an office, and as well retail spaces to allow this is all you know, engaged, and all of them is talking to each other. Within the same context, Hani, I want to say that D3 provides a calendar of events. Those events, we also keep a mandate that we will have an event for designers. We need to ensure that there is a percentage of those are fitted and allow an entry point for the SMEs and for the entrepreneurs to showcase and present on those platforms. Who sets the criteria? Who does the selection? Happens internally. We have a board. We ensure that they also have a guidelines to be able also to promote their product to be presentable to the right audience. We do participate globally. We've been attending Salone in Milan, London Design Week, Fashion Week in London and Paris. So as well, we had this dialogue earlier, but due to COVID and the pandemic, those things been on hold. We wanted to ensure under the umbrella of D3, we could bring those SMEs and young designers within the community to be able to showcase globally. So they are made in Dubai to D3 to Dubai, and then we're setting a global example for them to be able to excel, globally because every country or platform or exhibition, they are hungry for a new designers. The Asians are looking for the Arab designers. The European are looking for the Middle Eastern minds in the design, whether that's a furniture piece or that is actually, a dress. So part of that, we felt that we need to have that umbrella, D3 showcasing them, and they will come under us in that. So this is a few of what we had as a plan to promote, plan to basically collaborate with the designers. Few of the past examples, the collaboration between Arwa Banawi and Adidas, they started from D3. There are really energy in the designer. They started knocking the doors. They know who's the neighbor in house. And we're here as well ready to ensure that they are channeled, introduced to them so they can take their opportunities and partnerships together.
Okay, fantastic. We feel very lucky to be part of D3 as well. And many people ask us, why aren't you an academic city, Khadija? And we say, we cannot be an academic city. We are very much part of this ecosystem. And I love the word that you use, that it is a platform, Khadija, and we really feel that. And we feel that this initiative with the library is something that we would like D3 to feel that you own it as well. So yes, please let us know how we can adapt it to make sure that we provide the support to the SMEs, to the young students, and to be able to showcase what Dubai can do in terms of the creative industry. This is wonderful. Hassa, back to you, and I will ask two more questions to our panels, then open it up to questions from the audience. Hassa, back to you. And Khadija talked about SMEs and she talked about young designers. What are opportunities with you that young designers can learn from you, whether in internships or whether you're willing to talk to the students, give a lecture, or be part of the educational program in terms of the young designers, and also about mentorship or guidance for new SMEs that can learn from your experience?
To be honest, we are happy, and inshallah we will be announcing by next month for any internship programs. We have been welcoming students also from IUS, some students from graphic design students from IUS. So it was really interesting opportunity for us as well, because it's really important to get a new blood in our business and learning from a new graduate or new students. It's like because at the end you are exchanging knowledge. It doesn't matter the age or the major or whatever. So for us, we are really welcoming all the students to apply for internship in any major in art, definitely. So this is from our side as an internship. As a designer. I am willing to be part, to like maybe critique some of the student work and give them my feedback.
That's great.
Because I think it's really important to have feedback, exchanging feedbacks as well.
Okay.
So yeah.
Definitely. That's great. And Noreen today, our professor of fashion, just so you know, she's in France taking a course on CLO, C-L-O, the new software. So I will put you in touch with her when she gets back so we can organize that.
Interesting.
So you can be part of the jury, yeah. And we're going digital more and more. And going back to you, Carlos, with the last question, I would ask you about maybe you can talk about biomimicry or the idea of areas that you would like to actually go deeper in through your research and through your knowledge that can be beneficial to the D3 community as well, not just to the students.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Hani. So basically, well, on one hand, I like multidisciplinarity and transdisciplinarity. So not just focusing on one single discipline, but really trying to bridge different disciplines. And again, that's why I think that the curriculum in the IDI is fantastic. And it's really in my DNA because I'm curious by nature. So I like to explore different things. Within those terms, yes, one of my research topics is biomimicry. So biomimicry is design inspired by nature. And it basically tells us that many of the solutions to problems that we're facing have already been solved by nature through a process of evolution of millions of years. So many times when we look at solutions from nature, we can actually, as designers, use them and improve them. Now, biomimicry is not just about imitating forms or making, let's say, a design that looks like a spider just for decorative purposes. We also imitate functions in nature, but most importantly, we should imitate the processes and ecosystems. So if we imitate how an ecosystem works in nature, probably we will have better production systems, more sustainable systems, because sustainability is something that is embedded in the natural processes. Of course, in relation to biomimicry, I'm very interested in design for sustainability, the environmental aspects, but also the social aspects of it. And also related, I'm very interested in design for health. So one of the initiatives that we've taken in DIDI is to partner with MBRU, the Mohammed bin Rashid University of Medical Sciences. And the idea precisely is together with people from different disciplines to bring the expertise of different disciplines to solve some of these challenges. So we've already done some projects around problems with some of the current healthcare providers and how by joining design minds with medical practitioners and even also with engineers, we can collectively co-design better processes, better services, and better design solutions.
That's great. And the activities with the MBRU, just for the D3 community to know, is that MBRU understands the power of design. It's a health university, it's a medical university, and has the foresight to realize that for better health education, they need to integrate design thinking into the medical curriculum. So students in the first year are collaborating, and other years are collaborating in workshops that Carlos has been co-organizing with MBRU. Just so you know, maybe Khadija, this is interesting for the D3 community to actually bridge into other disciplines so we don't remain in our silo, because other disciplines are realizing that they need design thinking in order to differentiate themselves, come up with more, what's the word I'm looking for, more empathetic solutions, and the medical school definitely understands that. And just so you know, Carlos is a conduit between us and the medical university, if you think there is value in that. With that, I would like to open up the floor to questions from our audience. We have a number of participants. I'm sure you are itching to meet our wonderful guests. So if you want to send your question by chat so that we can then read it out and so we don't overwhelm our speakers. So please send your questions. And in the meantime, I will come back to you, Khadija, and while we receive the questions, I would ask you about what is D3's interest in reaching out to other communities in the Emirates, like the health community, for example, especially in this difficult time?
This is an interesting question, Hani. The challenge that came in, and the pandemic and the COVID-19 is actually opened an opportunity for the design community to be part of this, by providing a quick solution. There was a logistic constraint. There was a challenge in production. There was a demand and a need for masks and for medical gowns. This is where the fashion, sector is actually converted their, tailors to support the medical need by producing masks. And this is where, 7 designers in D3 collaborated to produce that. This was a proof that design is a small, economy, but it had made a difference when this pandemic hit. Within that, this design is always a language, whether that is the health, that in the medical and the patient experience, in the surgery room or when they are hospitalized. So there is always a language, there is always a design. Carlos, as you mentioned, sustainability is always a hot DNA for the design. Last year and this year, we'll always be talking what will be the sustainability solution to fashion, to fabric. How sustainability could help evolve certain tools, how I would ensure that certain products that is developed by the designers could be reused to a standard globally, and it's eco-friendly to the environment as well. This is all becoming a learning, becoming a hot topic globally. We definitely need a library, and we need a knowledge that we need DI. You're our partners in feeding us with that. And then D3 is providing you the platform. We have professionals like-minded to share, and we really need the expertise on ground to share the experience. Pandemic was a challenge. Pandemic have showcased that during those miseries, there is an opportunities for others to excel, to showcase, and also to back up and support, the government and the medical force.
That's great. We have some questions. Thank you, Khadija. But maybe we since I have you online, we can continue. There's a question from Dr. Ali Al-Azawi, who is also a human book in the library, and he's saying, how can D3 be a model of great design in the way we live and work there? How can we systemize the transfer of great design into our practical D3 life?
And simple lines. The whole introduction has a simple question.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, the question is, how do you promote? How D3 helps you in getting that exposure? Correct me if I'm wrong, Hani.
Yes. Yes, how can we take the values of D3 that we believe in, right, all of us, and how can we make them practical in our life in D3? What can we add to D3 to basically make it even greater using design?
Yeah, the design is a language, fashion,
Yes.
art, and all of that.
Yeah.
Once you are joining the community, you have an access to almost 10,000, the creatives minds working in D3. Once you are excelling, growing within the community, we also provide, support by covering your business, by covering your activities, showcasing in our social media, if you have a collaboration, we also provide support in promoting it in the media as well. And as well in-house, we have delegates coming from Singapore, delegates coming from the various governments wanting to understand the know-how of D3 model. We take them for a specific designers as an example set. So we also ensure that under the delegates route and visitation, we showcase those showrooms or those designers to basically be able to get an exposure to the delegates that we receive in.
Thank you very much, Khadija. And another question we have, I would address this to you, Hassa, as someone who is a graphic designer and a fashion designer. And the question is, what pet hate do you have about a misunderstanding or wrong way regarding your topic or specialty? So we are designers and people always misunderstand what we do. So as a double designer, Hassa, what do you think, what is your pet hate? What is it that gets you going when people ask you what you do?
Yeah, we always face this problem, to be honest, is addressing our story. So make sure you send the message in the right way, like always write the story, or maybe put the design and then start asking the people about what do you think about this graphic or this artwork, and then write your message about it. So this idea can make the people more curious about the design and the way that you are designing. But don't forget to put your signature in the design, because it's really important. It's gonna build your portfolio at the same time, so people will know your work from they can pick it.
Hani, can I raise my hand?
Yeah, go ahead. Of course. Yeah.
One of the stories that I always tell my students is that my father was an architect, and as a young industrial designer myself, we always faced this situation where you have friends or family and they come to you and they tell you, can you design a little logo for me? And then the next question or the next comment is, but can you do it for free? Because of course that's something that's really quick and very easy, right? And there's nothing that I hate more than that, because it was basically not valuing what design is. So, and I think most designers, architects, graphic designers, industrial designers at a certain point in life have come through this. And some people will tell you that because either you're young or a young professional, you should do it for free because you're just building your portfolio. And my message to all the young designers and to our students is, design is not for free. It's an important profession. You need to think a lot to develop a good design. So please never do it for free, and never give the impression that it's just a little drawing that is very easy to make by just pressing a button in the Photoshop software.
Thank you, Carlos. There's a question I think that will go to you, Khadija, from an incoming student from DIDI, from Alvaro. He's in Peru at the moment. And he has a question about D3 in general. Basically, I'll read it. I have to be, he was here in the Design Week of last year, and he's thinking about what are the current challenges to continue to build the triple helix of innovation, meaning academia, the industry, and the government. And as D3 being a model of that, bringing all these together, what are some of the challenges that you are facing today?
Okay. The challenges that I can call them to D3 is becoming an opportunity, because the diversification that is there in the market and the offerings that is there in the market have shown that we need to come up with a different product line for those challenges. The market being softened, so and as well there is a new design, segmentation, and licensing categories, which we saw them globally available, and we need to adopt quickly to those changes, which is design and digital design and technology. So those were the challenges. When you come in the ground and see them, we started adopting to those changes by adopting the innovation behind the design.
That's great. And a follow-up question on something you talked about, which is digital presence. We have a question from Dalila, who is a second-year student at the IDI. I'll leave it open to you, but I think Hassa, if we start with you answering this one, do you think having a digital presence is necessary for a designer to gain exposure? And if not, what else would you recommend?
Again?
Do you think having a digital presence is necessary for a designer to gain exposure? If not, what else can be done?
I think, yeah, it's really important, the digital way. It's really, really important, because now the world is all shifting into digital in terms of designing, in terms of exposure even. So, yeah.
Would you recommend also having a retail facility in your digital presence, or is it just raising awareness like with social media, or should there be a e-commerce aspect in your business online?
To be honest, right now it has to be more focused on e-commerce and the online, because everyone is shifting. Even the high-end brands, they are like focusing more into the digital and the online thing. Yeah.
Thank you, Hassa. I hope that answers the question. Dalila, we have a question from Jared, and I'll open it again to everyone. I think that Carlos, you might be the first one to answer it, so we start with you. Jared is basically saying, is there a place for people like me who are more leaning on the social, collaborative, and ideation aspect of design, rather than someone who has, for someone who lacks practical or applied skills of design? So the social dimension. Carlos, I think you give a course on that as well.
And I'm happy to answer that one. I think there's many different types of designers. Actually, every single designer is different. And we all have our strengths and weaknesses. And there's probably a bit of a misconception that to be a good designer, you have to be an artist or you have to draw very well. And while it's a great skill to have, and it's an excellent way of communication, visual communication, to be able to draw, that's not the only skill that you need as a designer. So what is most important in design is really the ability to think, to problem solve, and to think creatively. And of course, having, as Jared says, this empathy towards the social, collaborative, and even conceptual aspects of design is very important. Now, probably if you have those strengths, you would need to collaborate with people who have probably some of the other strengths in terms of the applied skills or the communication skills or so. But definitely there's a place for designers that are interested in the more theoretical, social components of design.
Thank you, Carlos. If anyone wants to add to that, otherwise I will move to the next question. And I think Khadija, you'll be the one I will present this to you, but please, everyone on our panel, feel free to answer. This is from James Peacock, who comes from the educational field, specifically in high schools. So the question is, how can we build better links between the design industry, the UAE, and education, especially in high schools? So the idea has a very strong relationship with D3. We feel we are part of a family. Question, how can we extend that to the high schools? Because the industry, I'm continuing James's question, the industry is somewhat hidden and abstract to young people. How can we make real-world designers, meaning D3 members, their idols? How can we bring them out to the high school? So high schools students have role models in D3.
Honestly speaking and thinking loud about it, if we could act like, ambassadors to the design world by bringing elite examples. For example, we have Hissa on board to talk about her dream coming true, being a fashion designer, studying design. So we go and start doing a road trip and roadshow to those universities and students. We have DIDI on board. We have D3 successful partners on board to start giving the students a life example that this is what future gonna look like when you are really a designer. We need to promote to them that after graduation, real world is not just corporate offices. There is much more than just being as an employee working to a government. You have passion and talent in the design. Maybe you haven't discovered yourself. I think at that stage, students need guidance, need someone to enlighten them, to give them a sight, to give them a path, so they are able to choose their career and their path in the right way. I did engineering when I was in the university. I'm so much passionate about producing video content and producing movies. But when I came to the real world, I discovered that I'm a human person. I'd like to be more, not doing the coding and an IT part. I'm more to be interacting with people. I haven't had the right guidance when I was at the school. So the market demanded at that point of time a need of an IT, of an engineering. So this is where DIDI role, we could collaborate, go and educate the students at their last years to see that today there is a whole huge market for creatives untapped.
Yes, true.
Need to be tapped, so they need guidance. Sometimes looking at the design and art from color point of view, the family comes and go, listen, my son, there is no future with it. What are you going to do? Be an art design, open your own business? That's a risk, We feel that we are protected where we are working in a government entity or that. This is totally different than the rest of the world. This is what we need to educate the students. This is what we need to enlighten them. So they feel like, yes, we see real examples from D3. We see the DIDI on the board. We see other campuses, maybe Zaid universities, to talk about the curriculums, talk about what else could you do from the design language. I think earlier Carlos talked about the curriculums and design. There is a lot of other things than just tailoring and just art and design, which design could add really a huge change to the design as a business and as a sector.
Absolutely. Thank you, Khadija. And I'd like to say that we face the same thing as DIDI. Now, I'm not the moderator, I'm just adding to that, is that we have the project design space, as you know, where we involve design or industry companies to provide real-world problems to high schools. And we can tell you more about that in another venue. We're reaching
Hani, Hani, just a little part of it. We also, during design week, had Madar.
Yes.
Madar showcased designers from the UAE. There are handcrafts things. There are, art pieces, all of that. there is a platform. It needs to be reaching the right audience, right people. We've been talking about taking Madar globally with us and other participation, but due to those COVID situation where we did not export it, we're ready to talk about it loudly, but we really need to ensure that it reaches the right audience for Madar UAE. That's it.
Thank you, Khadija. We are running out of time, and I would like to hear closing remarks from our esteemed guests, and then give it back to Donna to close the second session of the Human Library, the library. So, Khadija, any last words to our community, to our audience?
First of all, if the audience are students and you're gonna pursue your career in future, make sure that you have the 360 view of your career. Make sure that you are passionate about what you do, whether it's in design or in something else. You have to take risk if you are doing a business. There is no successful project with no failures and errors. You don't need to go big and wild with huge feasibility study project. Start small, start very easy. The government have so much offerings, flexible, freelance licensing, whether that is with us or whether that is in the ministries. They are encouraging hugely creativity. There is a whole creativity communities in the Emirates that we also collaborate within us or others, and as well we need to ensure that you make your own choice. You'll be able to excel in future. So my advice, you have to put your step by taking your guts on the ground and start smaller to excel.
Thank you, Khadija. And what's amazing is that D3 is the platform for you. So Khadija is giving you a boost. At the same time, she's providing you with a safety net that you can bounce on. So don't underestimate how unique and special this is. Hassa, final words, closing remarks.
Of course, follow what you are passionate about it. This is the most important thing because you can do magic out of it. And as Khadija said, there is a lot of opportunity if you will follow your dream. There is a lot of opportunities.
Beautiful, very encouraging words, Hassa. Thank you. And last but not least, Professor Carlos, closing remark.
Thank you, Hani. Maybe I would like to close with a remark around our current situation. We've lived for the past few months in lockdowns and new normals and COVID and a bit of fear of the virus and so on. But if we look at it, it's a challenge, and it's many times getting the best of people. It's showcasing the best of human ingenuity. And it's really an opportunity for us as humanity and as society to maybe stop and rethink our lifestyle, rethink our economies, rethink our priorities, and move forward. And I do think it's a big opportunity to pursue businesses that are more sustainable, work modes that are more fulfilling for everybody. So it's an interesting moment that is offering us many opportunities. And it's probably a very good moment to study new things and to relook at how we perceive the world.
Thank you very much for the wise words, Carlos, Khadija, Hassa, and Carlos. Thank you for being our guests. I give it over to Donna, who is the librarian at DIDI, who is organizing these events. Thank you for asking me to moderate, Donna, and all yours.
Yes. Thank you so much to our Human Books. This is such a very engaging session, a very rich information, a very rich resources that we can also share to our students, to the DIFLI community. And this concludes today's event. We are looking forward for our next episode, which will be next month. because we are doing this on a regular basis with our new sets of human books. So in behalf of DIDI, thank you so much to you, Human Books, for bringing us up to another level of storytelling. So I hope everyone learns from their insights and inspirations. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We are looking forward for our next session and hope to see you all again. So thank you.
Donna. Thank you,
Donna, for organizing.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Hani. Thank you, DIDI
Thank
team.
you very much. Thank you.
حصة فرصة سعيدة.
حبيبتي أنا سعد.
Bye.
Hope to see you
Bye.
soon.
Bye.
مع السلامة.
مع السلامة. الله معكم.
سلام معك.
Gracias de nada.